Good evening and many thanks for joining us. This is the first day of August, or rather October. I beg your pardon on that, the year 2024. Indeed, it's a day that a lot has happened, especially in the world of politics. They say in politics there are no permanent friendship, only interest aligned. It's evident and official now that the motion to oust Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua from office is on. This is after the motion to impeach Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua was tabled today in the National Assembly, marking the beginning of a long journey for Deputy President to actually, begin the journey to defend himself against many accusations that were leveled against him as the ground to impeach him. On the flip side of the coin, in the Senate, that is Makueni Senator Danson, tabled a motion in Parliament to investigate, or rather to discuss the conduct of President. This is just a counter on a flip side of what is happening to Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. The same case, a motion has been tabled at the Senate to discuss about the conduct of President William Ruto. Some of the discussion that we'll be having today on our State of the Nation, and of course among many activities and the latest happenings across the country and beyond the borders. But first thing first, our top stories tonight.
Tonight, which way Gachagua? Kibwezi West lawmaker officially tables motion to oust Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. From NHIF to SHA, Ministry of Health officially rolls out the new Social Health Authority. Also tonight, we stand with Bruce Kajira. LSK condemns assault and sexual violence perpetrated against Mombasa-based blogger. Plus, take care of the elderly. Kenyans have been urged to take care of the elderly as the world marks International Day for Elderly Persons.
This is KUTV Primetime News with Auma Evans.
Our sign language interpreter tonight is Lucy Kiare. Remember, you can follow our broadcast on all of our social media platforms. We are coming to you live on YouTube at KUTV News Live. You can tweet us on X at KUTV_Kenya at Auma Evans. Remember to use the hashtag State of the Nation. So tonight we begin the State of the Nation with the latest. An impeachment motion against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has been officially tabled in Parliament, signaling the start of the impeachment process. The motion, introduced by Kibwezi West Member of Parliament Mwengi Mutise, accuses Gachagua of over 10 violations, including breaches of the Constitution, corruption, and incitement, marking the beginning of a long journey for Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Dennis Monye opens our bulletin tonight with that report.
Number 134. Number 134.
The dice has now been cast for the impeachment trial of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, with Kibwezi West Member of Parliament Mwengi Mutuse officially tabling the impeachment motion against Gachagua, citing 11 grounds for his removal.
A total, Mr. Speaker, a total of 291 members of this National Assembly have graciously appended their signatures in support of this motion.
Gachagua is accused of gross violations of the Constitution, promoting ethnic discrimination, and undermining national unity through divisive public statement, contradicting government policies, and failing to uphold his duties as deputy president, particularly in relation to collective cabinet responsibility. In addition to constitution violations, the motion accuses Gachagua of engaging in corruption, money laundering, and abuse of office, thereby violating anti-corruption laws.
His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has grossly violated Articles 10(2)(1)(a), 10(2)(b) and C, Articles 27(4), Article 73(1)(a) and 2(b), Article 75(1)(c), and Article 129, Subarticle 2 of the Constitution of Kenya.
The deputy president is also accused of making false and malicious statements which breach both the Penal Code and the Leadership and Integrity Act. The motion further cites gross misconduct, including reckless attacks on the National Intelligence Service in subordination to the president, bullying public officers, and involvement in corrupt practices.
The deputy president has been threatening public officials. The person of the deputy president has carried himself in a manner that brings disrespect to the office that he holds, and therefore has grossly misconducted himself. Has committed the offense of gross misconduct in the manner of insubordinating the presidency and the Kenyan state.
The legislatures are now geared towards debate to determine Gachagua's fate. For the motion to pass at the National Assembly, it must be supported by 2/3 of the House, which is 233 MPs or more. After sailing through the National Assembly, the motion makes its way to the Senate, where it will involve hearing by the Senate Plenary or Special Committee. Nevertheless, for the impeachment to be successful in the Senate, 2/3 of the senators should be in support. Dennis Munyi, KUTV.
All right, let's stay with the matters of impeachment. Now, after the tabling of the impeachment motion against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, members of the parliament led by Minority Leader Junet Mohammed have called on the Inspector General of Police Office to improve their security, stating that they fear for their life. Dadaab Member of Parliament Maalim Faram has called on the IG to protect the president in this tough time, stating that the motion is a threat to government since it's being done for the first time.
This is one of the moments in this House, Mr. Speaker, when we are going to exercise Article 150, which has not happened before. So, Mr. Speaker, this is a very, very important matter for this nation, Mr. Speaker, that is being exercised through this House. But having said, Mr. Speaker, as you're aware, there are members from our side and members from the other side who have signed to this petition, to this motion, Mr. Speaker. And, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to get your assurance as the boss of this House, as the leader of this House, as the Speaker of this House, Mr. Speaker, that the 291 members of Parliament who have signed to this motion, Mr. Speaker, their safety and security will be guaranteed, Mr. Speaker.
One very important, most important in this country to raise. Not only do we have to protect the lives of 291 members of Parliament who have appended their signature there, we must also protect the system. The IG must protect our president to the hilt. Because you know the kind of a constitution we have. Any reckless thug can decide to change the course of history if, God forbid, anything were to happen to our president. You get my point? And there are people who we have been so worried lately, I get the feeling that they can even have the capacity to plan something like that.
And now let's switch gears to matters justice. Now, activist Morara Kebaso has been released on 50,000 cash bail after being charged with cyber harassment under the Computer Misuse and Cybercrime Act of 2018. The Office of the Directorate of Public Prosecution, or if you prefer the acronym ODPP, recommended charging Kebaso with the harassment for allegedly staining the reputation of Uasin Gishu businessman David Langat. The charge sheet claims that Kebaso accused Langat of helping finance President William Ruto's campaign through loans secured by Langat's properties. In his defense, Morara was accompanied by various opposition leaders and lawyers, including NARC Kenya Party leader Martha Karua, accusing the president of neglecting his duties. The High Court directed him and his legal team to appear for a hearing on October 4th. And still the quest for justice, health, or rather matters that is health. Health Cabinet Secretary Dr. Deborah Barasa has issued a directive that no patient will be denied any medical services in any health facility that service health remain uninterrupted in the said facilities. Dr. Barasa was speaking in Kakamega County as the country transitioned to the new Social Health Insurance Fund SHIF launched today. Theo Masharia reports.
As Kenya's Ministry of Health on Tuesday oversaw the launch of the Social Health Authority amidst a myriad of critical and unanswered questions, senior officials showing a sigh of relief after the High Court declined to issue an order stopping the rollout of the new Social Health Authority maintained that the new scheme will promote equity, fairness and better service delivery. Health Cabinet Secretary Dr. Deborah Barasa in Kakamega stated that no one in the country shall be denied any medical service during this transition period.
Tunasema wale hata waliokuwa kwa NHIF tukiendelea kuhamisha, mnaenda tu hospitali na mtaonekana. Hakuna haja ya mtu kurudishwa nyumbani. Hakuna hospitali itakurudisha nyumbani.
With concerns coming from Kenyans on the preparedness of the scheme, Public Health and Professional Standards PS Mary Muthoni noted that any money is paid under NHIF will be transferred to the new Social Health Authority and would guarantee a patient medical attention at whatever institution.
No money is going to be lost. If you had overpaid in NHIF, that money is going to be rolled out into Social Health Authority. So nobody is going to lose their money simply because they had overpaid. Maybe they had paid for a whole year and they can see that we are coming to the end of the year. Maybe we have another some money for November and December. Your money is safe.
Muthoni assured that one will now only need their identity card when walking into a health facility as opposed to producing an NHIF card earlier.
This will see 100% coverage for all Kenyans who are going to receive services. Before, NHIF used to have only 20% coverage of the people who used to have insurance. So this is a great moment for Kenya. The first point of charge when you go to any health facility is going to be the Social Health Authority. So when you take any other cover, do not think that you're going to be refunded your money, because your charge, the first point of charge, is going to be the Social Health Authority. Issues to do with mothers who are pregnant are very important, because Linda Mama is going to cover for that. It is going to cover for antenatal care, is going to cover for time during delivery, and equally it will cover for postnatal care.
However, a section of Kenyans have shown skepticism regarding the SHA rollout, despite a clarion call from the Ministry of Health to register as many Kenyans as possible.
That the community
Theo Masharia for KUTV.
And now to the corridors of justice. The Law Society of Kenya has strongly condemned the appalling abduction, assault and sexual violence perpetrated against Bruce John Kajira, a Mombasa-based blogger. According to the LSK, the unlawful and reprehensible conduct which took place on 12th of September 2024, alleged to be directed by Mombasa Governor Abdul Somad Sharif Nasir, is a flagrant violation of his constitutionally protected right to personal security, freedom of expression and dignity as established in Article 28, 29 and 23 or rather 33 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. LSK recognized that sharing the video or images on social media of sexual and physical violence not only re-victimizes the survivor but also traumatizes the survivor and perpetuates a culture of violence. And now Kenya have been urged to take care of the elderly as the country joined the world to mark the International Day for Elderly Persons. The appeal has been made by the Mama Ibada Charity, an organization that takes care of the vulnerable elderly persons in Kakamega and in Isiolo counties with the aim of restoring their dignity, as Diana Nashpai now reports.
As the world marks International Day for Older Persons, Mama Ibada Charity held a celebration for elderly in Kakamega County to celebrate and show care for them. During the celebration in Kakamega, which coincided with their monthly feeding program for 300 elderly individuals, Leisa Bidali, Program Development Manager for Mama Ibada Charity, highlighted the challenges facing older persons, including hunger and healthcare needs.
So for older persons, we want to advocate for all people around the world in Kenya to take care of older persons. And this day is just an opportunity to realize how well you can do interventions and also showcase the different challenges that seniors are facing.
Mama Ibada Charity addresses these needs through food distribution to the most at-risk elderly persons and has also launched weekly clinics to ensure regular medical checkups and treatment for the seniors.
Leo ni mwisho wa mwezi na tumelisha wazee wote 300, wanakuja wanachukua chakula, wanaenda nao kwao. Hawa wazee pia ufurahia wanapochukua chakula, na mimi binafsi ambayo nafanya kazi na hawa wazee, nikiona wazee wamebeba hiyo chakula wanaenda naye, inanipa furaha zaidi. Naona pia hapa tunabadilisha maisha ya wazee.
Bidali from Mama Ibada Charity encourages everyone to connect with an elderly person, even though a simple conversation, as it can greatly impact their lives. Offering food or assistance is also valuable. They are also eager to collaborate with individuals and organizations that share the same vision of supporting the elderly.
Tukipata pharmaceuticals ambayo ziko tayari kuungana na sisi kutusupport, tusaidie wazee kwa sababu ya drugs, tutashukuru sana. Na yote pia ambaye anasikia hii habari akiwa na nguvu na uwezo pia anaweza kutusaidia, tunaungana naye na Mama Ibada tufanye kazi pamoja.
Naima Salim, a programming coordinator for the Kakamega branch, noted that the support has given hope to many elderly individuals living in poverty. He encouraged more partnership to join the cause to expand the program's reach. The young people are also encouraged to respect and care for the elderly to rescue them from distress and loneliness on their last days. Diana Nashipai, KUTV.
Right, that story by Diana Nashpai takes us to our first break here on the State of the Nation. Remember, when we come back, the discussion is all about State of the Nation, but key in focus is the impeachment motion tabled today in Parliament, the impeachment motion of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, the second most powerful man in the land, who is now, to be fair, is walking the lonely talk, the lonely walk at the top of the mountain. So this is the discussion that we'll be having later on with my guest, that is Eston Maina, political scientist who is already in the house, and of course we'll usher him into this very important discussion in regard to the state of the nation. What is happening? Does the grounds level against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua stand? And is it really possible to impeach Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua? What does it take? And how does the journey looks like? And shall we prepare for life after Gachagua? That is in political term. Well, these are some of the areas that we will try to explore and see how the event pan and things unfold. Key in focus is the impeachment motion itself. What does it take to impeach a Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, or rather a sitting Deputy President from office? Those are just some of the insight that we'll be sharing with you after this very short break. See you on the other side of the break.
I'm Associate Professor in the Institute of Philosophy of Jagiellonian University in Krakow, Poland, and I'm the main coordinator of the Cafe project, which is being here hosted by Kenyatta University.
My name is Ewa Hudoba. I am a project manager in this consortium. Keep watching cutting edge research at Kenyatta University Television.
Kenyatta University's Chancellor Ambassador Dr. Francis Muthaura will hold a public lecture at the university's amphitheater on Friday, 4th October 2024 at 10 a.m. Ambassador Dr. Francis Muthaura has served as a civil servant and a diplomat in the Kenyan government, holding various distinguished positions like the Kenyan ambassador to EU, Belgium and Luxembourg, and a permanent representative to the United Nations in New York. He boasts of the Moran of the Burning Spear and Elder of the Golden Heart. The public lecture themed Strengthening the Future of Higher Education Through Strategic Reforms and Stakeholder Engagement will be live on KUTV and all Kenyatta University's social media platforms.
Shuka akawa tuzo, ukakamavu wake ukatii na kumfanya mwenye bidii. Kwa machozi na makeke akabaini jinsi ya kuwini. Huyu ni mwanamke ngangari kwa jinsi alivyo ngari. Mimi ni mwanamke mwake. Usikose kutazama kipindi cha mwanamke mwake nami Caroline Kimwele. Ndiye Yesu Bwana, wote waingie kwake. Lango, hili lango liwazi. I am right here for your sake. Now, today we are going to talk about the beginning of a fall. But not just a fall, it is a fall never to recover. If you spend your time sleeping, na tumesema while you are drunk, your senses are sleeping. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. How are you doing today? I'm well in the Lord. I hope you are well in the Lord. First of all, I'd like to thank our Father in heaven. They say broken things can't be fixed, right? But that's a lie. Genesis chapter 3 verses 8. That evening they heard the Lord God walking in the garden, and they hid from him among the trees. But the Lord God called to the man, "Where are you?" For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whomever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. Catch me right here only on KUTV every single Sunday.
Katika maisha yetu ya leo, wakulima na jamii nyingi kwa ujumla wanakumbatia teknolojia mbalimbali na kilimo hai ili kuondoa magonjwa sugu na kuongeza usalama na utoshelevu wa chakula. Mbolea asili imepunguza asidi kwenye udongo na kuongeza mavuno chungu nzima. Unajua tuko shambani, na humu shambani pia kuna ng'ombe, kuna kuku, na wanaacha uchafu wao, na huo uchafu si wa kutupwa, ni wa kutumika katika kilimo kama mbolea, kwa sababu mimea hii imekuwa kutumia mbolea ya hawa wanyama. Wakulima mbalimbali wamekumbatia teknolojia ili kuokoa gharama ya ukulima na kutumia nafasi zilizopo katika mashamba yao.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audio-visual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Are you healthy, or rather, do you maintain a healthy lifestyle? According to WHO, health is regarded as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. Welcome to Focus on Health, a show on all matters health, wellness, and lifestyle. On this show, we cover a wide variety of topics inclusive of, but not limited to, dental, optical, mental, reproductive health, and so much more. Join me, Joy Bofenda, every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. on KUTV for compelling insights and discussions on all matters health. See you then.
Focus on Health, your weekly dose of health and wealth information on KUTV.
They are powerful and influential. They make decisions in politics, education, finance, agriculture, health, sports, and all aspects of human life. But the impact of their decisions falls on you, the common citizen. KUTV Primetime News Thursday. We ask bold questions and pursue answers to the core to bring you closer to the story. We couldn't have it any other way. Join me, Auma Evans, as I raise matters of social concern to raise your voice from the background to the foreground.
You are watching KUTV Primetime News with Auma Evans.
Alright, welcome back. Now it's time for the State of the Nation. And of course, remember, just like I promised you, we'll be talking about the impeachment motion of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. And of course, to help me unpack this discussion is one and only Eston Maina, a political scientist. Eston, asante sana for making time. Alright, so just to put you into context with what you're talking about. Well, I have a very brief story. Story is about a man and a woman who, out of, convenient, they decided to, fall in love, and of course, went all the way to the altar and promised to be faithful, truthful, caring, to protect, defend each other, for better, for us. That is the marriage. And of course, barely 2 years after this marriage, the house began to rumble. There was cases of, infidelity. That is, the wife was accused of infidelity, and the wife then accused the husband of not saying anything to protect the marriage that they so defend it dearly, and of course they made a lot of promises on the altar. Now the moment of reckoning is here, and the wife has been served with, fair to say, a divorce papers. So it's upon the wife to either sign or even the husband to reject the divorce paper. I'm talking about now, which is evidently the gloves are off between President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua. Impeachment motion was filed today officially in the parliament, marking the beginning of a process that, if indeed he will be impeached, then he will go down in the annals of history as at least the first deputy president to be impeached, the sitting one for that matter. Well, when you look at this impeachment motion, the grounds that have been at least set to be forming the basis of this impeachment. So what's your take? Do you think it stands, the waters, and of course it will see the light of the day, or this is just another political scheme to ouster the man from Murima?
First of all, in the Republic of Kenya, you're innocent until proven guilty. And that is why, in this regard, it is now in the place of the motion mover, who is now the Member of Parliament for Kibwezi West, Honorable Mwengi Mutuse, to substantiate on the same. And he had 11 allegations that we are awaiting to see, the gravity of the situation. Are they just hearsays? He said he has video evidence, he has, audios and whatnot. And, when it comes to impeachment, it is a very turbulent situation. Because now, as a president, you're faced with two things, Do you now pick your individual interest or the national interest? In this regard, I want you to know that the deputy president of any state is a very influential, person in the state. And just like you saw, the attempt, in the United States, it can trigger some emotions. So, as a president, you must be willing to evaluate both. Is it worth it? Because for a motion of impeachment of a deputy president to be tabled in parliament, it has to be commissioned by the president. Especially if it emanates from, the side of the government. And I think they were very smart at how they, they tabled the motion in parliament, because initially it was anticipated that it would be either, Junet Mohammed or George Kaluma, that is the MP for Homa Bay town. But now it turns out they picked Mwengi Mutuse to table it. And I think that is to ensure that, the biggest competitor, who is now, the official opposition leader in this case, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, does not benefit from this impeachment, because now it will have emanated from a member of parliament from his region. And, that will antagonize, Mount Kenya. So, again, that was very smart on their side. But then we will wait for the substantiation, and that is what will tell us if it at all it holds any water, because you cannot impeach anybody on the basis of they're not respective, they're not respecting the president. You have to substantiate on the same. If there's gross violation of the constitution, you have to substantiate on the same. On that marriage and analogy, birds of a feather flock together. And when you as a presidential candidate, came to the electorate and said, I have picked Evans as my running mate, it means you had run a background check on Evans, and you saw Evans as, the person who was fit, to fit those shoes. How then do you come back to the electorate and tell them, what, I was wrong about, about Evans? What does it speak, about your decision making? So it is a lose-lose situation for the president.
All right.
Yeah.
And when you look at the grounds under which Deputy President will be impeached, if, of course, it sails through the parliament and, of course, goes to the Senate, and, of course, 2/3 of the senators pass it, then officially probably the Deputy President will be impeached. But we have gross violation of Article 10, 27, 73, 75, and 129. In regard to this Article 10 that talks about, tribalism, nepotism, do you think probably from what you have seen, maybe the talks from Deputy President about the politics of the region, the Mount Kenya region, clearly saying that all politics are region, do you think this ground, in all fairness, can really stand? Because there is talk that Deputy President is a national figure.
Yes.
When he speaks, or rather when he represents the entire Kenya. And this is about the national cohesion and all these things, about the unity, talking about as a president, as elected leader, deputy president in that matter. When you talk, you conduct yourself in a way that resemble the national unity as the national figure. So do you think probably talking about politics and of course development of certain region could be actually the real ground for this impeachment under Article 10 of the Constitution?
I will say that both the president and his deputy have failed to be statesmen. And this is why we have a president who is more of a politician, than a statesman.
All right.
Once you are sworn in as president, it is time, you shun the politics, run government, bring everyone on board, be a statesman. Because, it is a case of monkey see, monkey do. If you see your president, being more of a politician than a leader, then you tend to, you tend to take the same course. And that is why we have a deputy president who, believes in this shareholding thing in government. At the same time, the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya does not make any appointments. It is the president who makes appointments. And when they say, the deputy president, that is, the person of the deputy president says that this is a shareholders government, and then the president proceeds to appoint, CSs on that same shareholding, analogy. So what does it say about the president? This is something, that is going in tandem. It is a discussion they have held together. It's only that it is coming out from the deputy president, because then he speaks, of let me say, the discrimination in government, where it's only, let me call them the shareholders, the supporters of this government that, that are reaping those, the benefits of government. But then it is the president who appoints.
All right.
So is it, you cannot separate the two.
All right. So is it fair to say, under this Article 10, both
the president and his deputy,
the president has failed?
Yes.
Is it fair to say?
It is fair to say that.
It's fair to say
that. It is fair to say that they have both failed this country. They have failed as statesmen, because we expected them, whether we elected them or not, to be statesmen. When it comes to the presidency, you have to respect the presidency, because it not only speaks to the person, the president, or the person, the deputy president. It's an office. You're supposed to be a symbol of national unity, because as the president, you cannot say you're the president for everyone, yet we see only appointments from your region. Majority of the appointments in government. You cannot say that you're the deputy president, of the Republic of Kenya, and the only people you talk about is your region. So, on both occasions, they have failed to be statesmen.
All right. Now, first of all, do you support the impeachment motion of deputy president? Do you think maybe it's fair to send Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua home?
I personally do not support the impeachment for this particular reason. Impeachment is both a political and legal process. But I tend to think this one is more, of settling political scores, because the deputy president is not, timing or marching to the direction that the president wants maybe him to march. And when we have a situation where we use impeachments for reasons that are not supposed to, to trigger impeachments, because it's supposed to be, a legal process. That we have legal offenses that the deputy president has committed, as opposed to not not singing the song or not reciting the poem that the president wants them to recite. And one of the allegations was that he banged the table when the president was there, and that showed disrespect. No, I don't think that is a legal ground enough to impeach somebody as the deputy president. Something else that was said is that he's a bully. It was said in parliament today that he's a bully, and I remember even Junet Mohammed asking for protection. They're asking for protection, from the IG of police, because they're saying he's a black man with a dark hat. I don't know where they garner that sort of information, but maybe, like we said, they will substantiate on the same.
All right.
But I do not support the impeachment, because it might put this country, in very trying times. I want you to remember, the things we went through in 2007, and I think President William Ruto and former President Uhuru Kenyatta, one of the biggest achievements they made was uniting, the Mount Kenya faction and the Rift Valley faction that had been antagonizing each other for ages. But then when you move a step forward and 2 steps back, you're taking away from your achievements.
All right.
Because what that will do is that it's going to bring a revolution that is going to pitch one side against the other.
Okay.
Yes.
And when you look at now the perceived split between Deputy President and, of course, Rigathi Gachagua, that is President William Ruto and his Deputy Rigathi Gachagua, well, none of them have come out clearly to say that, okay, the house is on fire, this is we are at this point because of 1, 2, 3. But from your own assessment as political analyst, where do you think probably the rain started beating once a very vibrant party, two of the most darling, given promises, promising to protect each other, defend, one saying that my deputy will not, undergo what, I passed through as a deputy president. Now, the same script being played over and again. Where do you think probably the marriage went sour?
I think they set their own precedent they set their recipe for chaos, because we saw a government that came into power and started, violating a lot of, constitutional, let me say, a lot of institutions, let me say. For one, we have seen a government that has no respect, for the rule of law. We have seen intimidations from the side of to the side of the judiciary. We have seen, intimidations on the, on a citizenry. You're not supposed, to exercise your freedom, to picket and, air out your, express yourself, air out your grievances. Now, when you thrive on such a government, sometimes we say mchimba kisima in Kiswahili uingia mwenyewe. They set their own course for failure.
All right.
Because when the president, was okaying, the military to go into the streets of this country to fight our young men, the deputy president was behind him clapping, because as the chief assistant to the president, he did not see any problem, because at that time, it was a win for them. Now the same sword has turned to him, because the president reminded us, the sword that you gave me, siya kukata nyeni. That's what he said, siya kukata skuma. That is what he said. And the same sword now has been turned to his deputy, the same sword. And I hope Kenyans pay attention, because when the president was sworn in, he was given 2 things by the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya. He was given the Constitution and the sword. But for some reason, the president put the Constitution aside and lifted the sword. I wish he had lifted the Constitution and showed us as Kenyans that he was going to, uphold the Constitution and protect it. He was going to run this country under the Constitution, but he showed us the sword. Meaning he was going to run it, under, his control, that power. He showed his power as the president. And this is the same power that is now tilting to his deputy, because, you're not towing the line. And I told you this sword was not for Sukuma Wiki. Now that the sword has been turned to the deputy president. So it is a government that was formed, as a as a business entity. That is how I see this Kenya Kwanza government. It was formed as a business entity, and that is why you see most of these differences are purely individual, interest, not national interest.
Okay.
Yes.
Talking about interest, and this is, I think, largely where the discussion is based on, and even the impeachment motion squarely lies on this very key aspect. The activities of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua around now the Mount Kenya. Part of his, part of his time as a Deputy President has been to try and mobilize the Mount Kenya people and bring them into one umbrella. Well, that has been a very tall order for him, and as things stands by, it seems that the mountain is really on rapture as we speak. And because of this, we have seen this is a man that has been walking very lonely walks in recently, and now that he faces an imminent impeachment, should this motion sail through and Senate find it fit that indeed he stand accused, then probably, his activities around the mountain, defending the mountain and trying to listen to the ground could now be something that maybe either will be slowed down or will even intensify. Well, this Deputy President and his Mount Kenya politics, do you think this is an area that he has really struggled on it? And do you think he has really the support of the people as he claimed?
I would say, I think one of the biggest mistakes, of this, the president has ever made was, trying to fight his deputy. Because now what happened, they ended up creating, a monster of their own making. Because when they came to power, and it is true how it is alleged that, Mount Kenya did not elect, William Ruto because of, Gachagua. They would have elected him regardless because he had convinced them. Or rather, the pact that they had with the former president, Uhuru Kenyatta, still stood when it came to the people. But now, in fighting his deputy, he made him popular. Because we have a culture in Kenya where we sympathize with, the underdog. Kenyans root for underdogs. The moment people see you're being oppressed, they are going to side with you. And now it is the same, the same water that cooked his chicken the time, he was the deputy president, the same sympathy he rose upon is the same sympathy that his deputy is enjoying. Because now, at that time, he was the oppressed, but now he is the oppressor. And now Mount Kenya is against the oppressor. Because now, to them, the same narrative that he sold, that the president was, oppressing him, the president was shutting him out of a government that they created together, is the same narrative that his deputy is peddling. We formed this government together. We were elected on a single ticket. Why is he locking me out of government? Why am I being, removed from a WhatsApp group that's supposed to inform me on, on the activities of the president, to a point where I do not know where the president is at what time, so I cannot appear in these meetings. So I think it is upon now the president, to ask himself. It is not now Gachagua. It is the president who should ask himself, where did the rain start beating us? Because he has only made him popular. And if at the very beginning, Rigathi Gachagua never stood any chance, to be the Mount Kenya kingpin, as they say, now he has a chance. Because I can tell you, Mount Kenya is not divided. It is the leadership in Mount Kenya that is divided. When you go to the ground, and that is why you have seen attempts, by the majority leader, MP for Kikuyu, trying, to talk ill of the deputy president. It turns out chaotic for them. Because now the ground, the ground has become vibrant and it's only singing Rigathi. And that is why you see, even when they did their tour in Mount Kenya, they had to involve the deputy president because the people were chanting his name. You cannot separate Mount Kenya from Rigathi Gachagua at this moment. So even if the president is going to pick, let's say the impeachment goes through, if the president is going to pick somebody from Mount Kenya, it is very hard for him to find somebody who will fit the shoes of Rigathi Gachagua. It will be an uphill task for the president.
Well, but your statement about Rigathi Gachagua now being the man of the people, well, how comes when he was on Mount Kenya tour,
yes,
just on weekend, out of 7 senators from the region declined to actually be part of that tour, and of course he was really isolated, a lonely man. What does it tell about the deputy president? Because I believe appeal should cut across through leaders and the people. So what kind of message does it send?
This is the message it sends, a very simple message. Like I said, it is not the people who are divided, it is the leadership. And it is because we have a leadership that is, very much token based. They go to the highest bidder, and that is why you see the parliament we have today is pretty much an extension of the executive arm of government. It is either the executive has overreached to a point, it is overstepping the boundaries, and now it's controlling parliament, or parliament has been subdued. It's only it's under the mercy of the executive, and that is why you see in cases where a parliament passes, a finance act, and the president declines it, and they're just there clapping. The same MPs who maybe in the morning were saying, pass the bill, are now clapping because the president has declined the bill. So it begs a question, as an electorate, do these people think for themselves, or does the president think for these people? So when senators from the region, fail to appear, it only shows that, most of the MPs and senators who were elected under the UDA ticket or the Kenya Kwanza ticket, they were elected simply because they were in UDA. And that is something you need to know. And the president reminded them. There's a time they went to State House and said, the ground has shifted. Mr. President, we need to adjust. And the president told them, you only need to be popular when it matters. You don't need to be popular all the time. I got you elected. You did not get me elected. Remember that. It is something he constantly reminds them. So they have to toe the line. Because at that time I told you, Rigathi brought nothing to UDA. We have to be honest. It was all, all under Ruto. So all these people pay their allegiance to the president, not to his deputy. If it was a case of, when we have a contractual agreement, because all the other parties, they have a contract with, with UDA, all the Kenya Kwanza parties. Ford Kenya has a contract with UDA. The Service Party has a contract with UDA, and the ANC has a contract with UDA. And Maendeleo Chapchap has a contract with UDA. Only Rigathi Gachagua joined the Kenya Kwanza movement with no contract. He went on a gentleman's agreement. So these MPs know that they are under the mercy of the party leader, not the deputy party leader. So that is why they had to toe the line with the party leader and not his deputy. Yep.
All right. And because now we are actually past time. Okay. So I'll give you just 30 seconds, pretty one, for your closing remark and regard to this.
I will say this. The president has to be very careful when conducting this impeachment process, because as a student of history, when you read a book called The Art of War, the best way, to handle such a situation, you give your enemy, the time to destroy themselves. Because now, the president has chosen to attack. And if the impeachment is to go through, because I believe when the president okayed it, he was certain that it would go through. Because if the impeachment motion fails, what does it say about the president? Because it is clear that the president has commissioned it. So he has one option. He has to make sure that he flattens his competition, because you must give your enemy nothing to negotiate, no hope and no room to maneuver, because failure to do so will mean the end of plutocracy.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Eston Maina, thank you so much for making time. for having this very important discussion about the state of the nation and of course the current affairs in regard to what is happening in the country in our political spheres. Right now the hot discussion is about the impeachment of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Remember, the motion has already been tabled in Parliament. Now all eyes will be on the August House to see how things will pan out. Will Deputy President be the first to actually march out of very prestigious position, or will he survive the impeachment motion? What does the future await for Deputy President? That is a question that for now nobody can claim to have the answer. Only time will tell. Alright, so where do we go? Sports or what? Alright, so we march on to sports. Right, now let's talk motorsports. Daniel Mateiko has bounced back from an injury he sustained at the Paralympic Games and is now gearing up for Valencia Half Marathon set for October 27th, 2024 in Spain. The 2023 Antrim Coast Half Marathon has set his sight on victory despite the presence of a strong elite team of men to beat, including Tadesse Waku, debutant Vincent Langat, Isaiah Kipkoech, Edward Cheserek, Gravin Kiprop, Weldon Langat, and Gemuche Dida. On the women's side, Kenya's Agnes Jebet Ngetich will lead the line, expecting fierce competition from Ethiopia's Segei Gabriel Selema and fellow Kenyan debutant Lilian Kasait Cheruk. Their second match of the UEFA Champions League competition, following their goalless draw against Atlanta in Italy on March day 1. PSG, who managed a 1-0 win against Girona in the first round, will be looking for a second straight win without their star player Ousmane Dembele, who has been suspended on discipline grounds after confrontation with the head coach Luis Enriquez. Right, it's a wrap. Many thanks for the women and men who made this production a success, and of course for you esteemed viewers for always keeping us a company in the last 58 minutes or so. My good name is Auma Evans. Our sign language interpreter has been Lucy Kiari. Until next time, do have a lovely night and God bless Kenya.